Hey, I'm Brian Goulet of gouletpens.com, and today I want to show you the Monteverde Invincia Deluxe in a stainless steel. This is an exclusive that we're releasing at gouletpens.com here for the 2014 winter holiday season. We're actually releasing it in two different versions, a fountain pen and a twist rollerball in a matching set if you would like to get both together. It's something kind of neat, and so I'm going to break it down and show you what we have going on. The Invincia Deluxe is kind of the flagship model for Monteverde. They have a lot of different versions of the Invincia, and normally they're kind of carbon fiber based, but they decided to do one in this stainless steel, and we thought it was a great idea, so we wanted to collaborate with them to come out with this pen. So it's polished chrome trim, just like what they have on some of their other ones, and it's got a stainless steel nib that's available in a fine, medium, broad, and a 1.1 millimeter stub. It's a cartridge converter filling fountain pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, and it also comes with a threaded Monteverde standard international converter. The rollerball version normally would be a twist screw cap, just like the fountain pen, but we requested that we actually do the ballpoint format, which is a twist, but include a rollerball, gel rollerball refill cartridge. So you still get that rollerball writing experience, but in the twist format. And this cartridge is what's called a Parker style, very common style that you can get at just about any office supply store. Now I know what you're probably thinking, why is Goulet Pen Company carrying a rollerball? Why is this thing sitting in my hand and not in the trash can? Okay, so don't tar and feather me yet. Let me explain myself here a little bit. So back when Goulet Pen Company first started, we actually didn't have anything to do with fountain pens. I was making my own pens, and I was making everything with rollerballs. And rollerballs kind of hold a little bit of a soft spot in my heart because back when I first discovered gel rollerballs, all I had known was ballpoints. So gel rollerballs to me were really kind of the first introduction to an enhanced writing experience. I hadn't yet been shown the light with fountain pens. But they were, for me, were really just kind of like, wow, this is really a step above what I've been using for my entire life. So I made all of the pens, the handmade pens that I was making in the early days of the company. I don't do that anymore, but once I discovered fountain pens, it really just like opened up Pandora's box for me, and it really kind of built upon that. But the rollerballs to me, it's kind of like I equate it to when you're listening to like the radio top 40 hits, and you hear this band that you've never heard before, and it's kind of poppy, but you know, it allows you to discover a band that you never knew before. And then once you get into the deep tracks, you're like, wow, I never knew this band was around. I'm so glad. And like, even though you're not as into the radio pop hit a couple of years later, you really appreciate the fact that it introduced you to this new band that's kind of got a much more deeper kind of feel to it. That's kind of like what it is for me for rollerballs with fountain pens. So for me, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm like selling out trying to push rollerballs now. Really, it's more of like, this is something that it could be a way to help to introduce people that maybe wouldn't want to dive in headfirst on a fountain pen, but it can show them, just like I experienced, that rollerballs can and still enhance your writing experience over what you've done before. This is a fairly heavy pen. Stainless steel is not exactly a lightweight material. It's about 47 grams in the fountain pen version, which is fairly heavy. It's going to be somewhat comparable to, say, some of the Jinhao pens, a lot of the other Monteverde pens like the Invincias, the Regatta is a little bit heavier, but similar to that. Stainless steel Lamy 2000, things like that. If you like big, heavy pens, this is going to be the pen for you. So I'm going to ink it up and write with it. The rollerball I don't really have to do anything with because it's pretty self-contained. But the fountain pen needs to be inked up. Takes standard international cartridges, but it's got a converter in there. I'm kind of a converter man myself. It can use any fountain pen ink. I'm using Monteverde Black with it. I just feel like that's pretty appropriate. The thing I like about this stainless steel pen is if you're one of those who is kind of like me, you like to compulsively kind of match the ink to your pen, this is nice because it's neutral and you don't necessarily have to be limited to any specific type of ink. So I chose Monteverde Black just because I happen to have that bottle on hand and I thought it would be kind of good with the stainless steel look. So it's a converter, international converter here, and to fill it, it's pretty straightforward. You just stick the pen down in the ink, you twist it up and down a couple of times to try and get as much air out of there as possible. And then you get the ink in there. Get a paper towel or something like that to wipe the nib, the excess off of there, and you're good to go. That's pretty much it. Now that I've got the pen all inked up, I'm ready to give it a little writing test here. So I'm using Rhodia number 18 dot pad here. I like the dot pad because it's a 5mm spacing, but the dots are very subtle. So it's just nice. I'm a big fan of the dot pad. That's no secret. The nib size that I have for this one, I chose the medium just because it's kind of a general all around. Medium is usually pretty good for if you're buying a gift for somebody and you don't know what nib size they prefer. You also might want to consider a fine as well because the finer the nib, the better it is on more absorbent paper. However, this is really good paper, so I'm going to use the medium here. You can write with this pen posted or unposted. When you post it, it's obviously you're getting the full weight of the pen. It tends to be a little bit back heavy, especially if you got smaller hands and you hold closer to the grip. It's long enough where even a big-handed person like me can hold it very comfortably without having to post it. So that's really up to you. So I've got Monteverde Black in here. And this is the first time I've inked up this pen. I didn't clean it out or anything ahead of time, so I'm just going to play with it a little bit to get it down. Now this ink, Monteverde Black, it is a lubricated ink. It has what they call ITF technology in there, which is you know, kind of a lubricant additive that they put in there to allow for a greater ink flow and to keep the nib from drying out as quickly as maybe some other fountain pen inks would. So just giving a little bit of writing sample here. Monteverde Invincia, it's like the longest name for a pen that I've ever seen in my life. Invincia Deluxe Stainless Steel. I'm trying to write fast so I don't take your whole day here. Steel. Medium. And I like this dot pad because it kind of gives you an idea a little bit of what the thickness is like of the line. The nib itself, it is stainless steel, but you see here if I give just a little bit of writing pressure, I get kind of a true medium line. If I put a little bit more pressure on it, I can get a little bit thicker line. Now, don't go calling this a flex nib or anything like that, but if you write with a heavy hand like I do, you know, it will give you a little bit of line variation. Most of the Monteverde nibs are like this. This is the same nib that's available on all of the Monteverde pens, with the exception of the Artista Crystal, the Paquito, and the Tool Pen. Those use a smaller one. But if you're using another Invincia, the Regatta, the Impressa, the Intima, they have a lot of I names in their pens. But these are all the same nibs that are on there. So it's a number 6 size nib. Very common, fairly good size nib. The one thing about the grip on this pen, it is a metal grip, so it is a little bit slick. So if you're using it for a long writing session, the slick grip plus the heaviness of the pen may or may not be ideal for most of you who are kind of long form writers. Might not be as comfortable for you as some of the lighter pens that are maybe you know, a different material as well. But for the kind of pen that you just have it in a meeting or whatever, you're just kind of carrying it around, taking notes, doing to-do lists, that kind of thing, that's where I think this pen will be really good. To give you an idea of how the Rollerball writes, now, the refill that is coming in this pen is the broad Rollerball. So it is going to write fairly thick, and it's actually going to be pretty close in size to the medium fountain pen. So here it is, the broad nib. And to give you some idea, oh my gosh, I don't even know what I wrote there. Nib, there we go, let's try that. And I'm going to do some little X's and some little squigglies. I really like the way this feels. It actually kind of feels almost like a fountain pen nib because it is so smooth. The only thing is with these refills, the gel like this, the broad ones, the refills are going to run out quicker than they would with a typical ballpoint pen if you're used to using those. What I've found in my experience with people that have nice pens with gel Rollerball refills, you get the impression that you're running out of ink faster than you should. However, what's actually happening is because you have a nice pen, when maybe you're not used to using a nice pen, you're carrying it around with you everywhere. You're using one pen continuously. So you're gonna run out of that one pen quicker than you might realize on other pens, because normally when you have cheaper pens, you just pick up one, you leave it, you use another one, whatever. You're not using one dedicated pen all the time. So it might be about a month or so, or even maybe 2-3 weeks before you need to get a refill if you're using it a lot. And to give you a comparison here, I have a Pilot G2 in the 07 size that I wanted to just give you a comparison so you can get an idea of what it looks like in thickness. So the Pilot G2.07. and it's not going to be as thick. I would say if you had like the medium refill on this Monteverde, it would be closer to this 07. If you had the broad G2, I think that the 1.0 I think it is, that would be closer to this broad Monteverde refill. That should cover just about everything you could want to know about the Invincia Deluxe Stainless Steel. You can always leave a comment on YouTube or on the blog if you want to follow up on it. You can learn more as well on gouletpens.com. Check out technical specs, more pictures and things like that. The fountain pen version is $108 and the rollerball is $76. If you like this video and you want more like it, you can check it out on my YouTube channel and subscribe there. I appreciate that very much. Hope you enjoyed this video, and right on.